This is Acme High School's Library Media Specialist and Library Media Center to Learning Commons initiative. We decided to take the route of changing our school library into a learning commons because we understand that as 21st century educators and students, we need to be able to share, create, and collaborate. The new 21st century skills, as former President Barack Obama stated, libraries have a special role to play in knowledge economy, where parents and children can read together and learn together. No longer is the library a vault where people come to access the knowledge. Due to digital technologies, anyone has the knowledge at their fingertips. Why the Learning Commons? Learning Commons brings together the functions of libraries, labs, lounges, and seminar areas into a single community gathering place. And that's the important line. Library Learning Commons are a community gathering place. Printed books will always play a role in supporting learners, but those digital technologies offer additional pathways to learning and content acquisition. Students and teachers no longer need a library simply for access. Instead, they require a place that encourages participatory learning and allows for co-construction of understanding from a variety of sources. Our students are social. They learn best by talking to each other, by interacting, by sharing opinions, and synthesizing each other's understandings. Library and Learning Commons are the future of school libraries. Our mission at Acme High School is to create lifelong learners who strive to improve their community and the world around them, to engage and prepare students to become authentic, information-based global citizens using effective practices that foster interdisciplinary learning, inquiry, and collaboration. To date, we were lucky enough to be awarded 2 separate grants, one from Stephen and Tabitha King for $8,400, the other for $3,000 from the Kiwanis Leading and Learning Grant. Over the last year, we've had a total of $11,000, a little more than that, raised, and with that we have changed out shelving, supplied and bolstered our nonfiction and fiction materials, and had enough money left over to provide a small media lab. So the problems with our owed space back in 2014 and the reason we decided to go with the Library Learning Commons, the first thing is the bookshelves. Many of them were too high. They were 8 feet, mahogany, oppressive, dark, and blocked line of sight and natural light from the gorgeous windows we have in front of the library. They were overcrowded. They had many titles that needed to be in repair. Spines were broken, covers ripped. Many of the nonfiction titles were very out of date, providing students with inaccurate information, so weeding needed to happen. The size of the bookshelves also did not allow for repurposing of the space. For movement, nothing was modular. They were very heavy. Where they were is where they were staying. The size of the bookshelves makes the library feel like a dungeon. Seating, the computer stations were actually stationed on folding metal tables, seated in front of metal chairs. Plastic study carrels were old, in disarray. They had been vandalized and repainted. And it was modular, but there was a lot of work to it. Instead of just picking up or moving things on wheels, you had to unhook all the PCs, move the PCs, fold up the tables, fold up the chairs, and then after the program, put everything back. It was a lot of work for an hour-long presentation or program. And of course, they were not comfortable. Our new Learning Commons, so in the last 2 years, we've used the a little over $11,000 to buy new modular shelving. The library can now hold special events for the library, the school, and the community simply by unlocking the wheels and pushing these large bookcases out of the space. The shorter shelving also allows more light to enter the library, creating a brighter, more open space. Shorter shelving also assures that the shorter or smaller students or students of all abilities now have access to all materials, as well as opens up the lines of sight throughout the library. Stage 2, which we're currently working on, is creating a more collaborative, creative space where critical thinking and student instruction can really take shape and form. We'd like to purchase interactive whiteboard for student and staff use. Students can use it to design, record, create, and present projects. Teachers can come in, use the library space for classroom instruction if they feel the need. Modular furniture, that way students and staff are allowed to design their own space, collaborate, and learn in ways that best fit them. We'd also like to purchase or paint a few whiteboard tables to allow students to fully collaborate and share ideas across tables or even across curriculums and across class times. Final is we'd like to create one false wall in the back of the library, and that false wall is going to allow a small lab space setting or a separate media room where you can do classroom instruction or large study groups, or a silent study space depending on what's going on in the main space of the library. For education, with the extra money for our collections, we were able to get 87 nonfiction books added to the collection in this year, 158 fiction books. Individuals used the library over the course of the year. Over 2,500 people came through the door. There was a 9% increase in database use thanks to collaboration between the Library Commons staff and the social studies team. We did an information literacy project on truth in the media for the government class. Technology, there was a 14% decline in computer use, which we fully expected because our district just switched over to one-to-one devices. As I said again, the decline was expected. However, our Chrome carts were reserved 36 times this year. It's new, and most of the reservations, teachers had them for at least 1 week, if not 2. When the cart was not reserved and was actually physically in the library, students were also allowed to check out laptops as needed on a one-to-one basis. However, I did not document the usage. 200 Media Lab check-ins since we completed the space in October, and a 15% increase in our website traffic since our redesign in the spring. Collaboration. Staff are going to use the space for PD, professional development, to model group skills and team teach. Professional culture requires that teachers are willing to share, support, and explore together. Developing a collaborative culture will result in reducing teacher attrition, improving student learning, and creating the type of school that everyone searches for when they become an educator. We want to create that professional and student-based learning culture, the collaborative culture. Students have been using this space on group projects, homework help, and tutoring. And student collaboration is both required for Common Core and NGS, Next Generation Science Standards. Questions?